Hey guys, and welcome to another episode. Today's episode of Marble Gallery is going to be a little different than what I normally do. It's been 5.5 to almost 6 months since the Nintendo Switch launched, and I thought this is a good midway break in the first year of this system's lifespan. I thought it'd be fun to sit down, tell you some more advanced thoughts about my time with this system in the past couple months. I've been an owner of the Nintendo Switch since day one, and I thought we would talk about some of the games I've played, kind of give you some rundown on them, and some future games that I'm looking forward to. And also in this episode, I thought it'd be fun to sit down and kind of brainstorm some of what I would consider be my dream games for this machine. And again, some of them are going to be what I consider dreams that probably will never happen. This will be a very interesting and long video. First thing I want to say here, I had originally bought, when the system came out, I bought a case just on a whim for my Switch because I didn't know how portable I would make this machine, and I recently upgraded to this Mario Kart 8 case, which is a much more, this is an extremely durable case than the other one. The other one was literally just shitty cardboard, and I felt like if I dropped this case, it would shatter my Switch. This thing, if I dropped it, I feel like it has enough durability to it that it's not going to give the machine much issue. As you can see, the other thing you'll see too in my Nintendo Switch is I do have the colored Joy-Cons. The colored Joy-Con Neon Joy-Cons machine is the one that I bought day one. However, I had that infamous left Joy-Con problem where it started desyncing and having issues, and rather than send that Joy-Con to Nintendo and only have one controller, which I have a Pro controller, to play the system just on my TV all the time for like a week or two while I waited for them to literally put a little piece of foam inside the controller, I just went to the store where I bought my Switch and had them switch it out. So I have the colored Neon Joy-Cons, but these are, as you can see, this one should be blue and this one should be red, but this is how they sell them separately. It's a minor gripe that I have, but I'd rather have working Joy-Cons that are colored than no Joy-Cons at all. So let's talk about some of the games that I've been playing on the Nintendo Switch. I have had a blast with the Nintendo Switch since it came out. It originally it launched with a couple games, but it kind of was just a Zelda machine for the first month. And Zelda is a fantastic game. It will be one of the best games of the year, without a doubt. I don't know if it will be my game of the year. It will be in my top 5 for sure. But there's one other game right now that is just, it was neck and neck, and now it's kind of like this for Game of the Year. And it will probably beat Zelda for Game of the Year. But Zelda is a fantastic game. It's the best Zelda game that I've played since Ocarina of Time. It has such a sense of joy and wonder and exploration that has been missing from that franchise since I feel Ocarina of Time. Because I'm a weird Zelda fan where I adore the original Zelda, not really care about Zelda 2. I love A Link to the Past. I absolutely adore Ocarina of Time. It's one of my favorite games of all time. Hated Majora's Mask with a passion. Loved Wind Waker, thought that was a good one. Couldn't get into Twilight Princess, didn't play Skyward Sword, and then I played about half of A Link Between Worlds, really enjoyed it, I just never finished it, and I really should go back and finish that game. But that was the last Zelda game that I played, so... And I looked at this one very cautiously optimistic because, before it came out, it was the kind of thing like, are they really going to take this open world and do this? Is this going to work? And it works so incredibly well. And just I've spent 75 hours in Breath of the Wild. I haven't finished the game. I've beaten, I think, 2 of the 4 Divine Beasts. And I took a break because I wanted the first DLC pack to come out because it has that medallion which allows you to fast travel anywhere in the land. And I'm so glad that I did, and I do plan on sitting down and going back to it once I finish some of my other games that are on my shelf right now. And I really adore this game. It was the perfect game to launch with this console. It is the idea of having this full-fledged Zelda game, the biggest Zelda game that's ever been made, but I can take it on the go and play it like, the Nintendo Switch is like a Vita in portable mode, but bigger. And it's been a blast with this game. And I've really enjoyed it. That made the purchase immediately a great purchase on day one for me, for sure. We had another interesting game that I did an episode of Backlogged on because it was a game that I had on the PS4 when it was a PlayStation 4 Plus game. and I played a little bit of it, but didn't really get into it until they made a Nintendo Switch version of it. And because they were making a Nintendo Switch version of it, I thought, oh, that's cool. I should probably pick that up because there's a physical copy of it. That'd be really cool. That is, of course, The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. This is a really cool twin stick shooter that I've really enjoyed. Again, and if you want to see a full review and thoughts on the game, you should go watch my episode of Backlog where I kind of dive into it deeply. But I've really enjoyed playing on the Switch. It added a very interesting two-player mode that I played a significant amount with my girlfriend, and we've had a fantastic time playing that game. It's really good, and it's definitely worth your time. Another game that I want to talk about, probably if I had to pick a second favorite on the Switch right now that's come out this year, and it was an unexpected game, but it was something that I had been interested in for the last couple of years because it was something that came out in Japan, and I actually was legitimately in the process of looking into importing this game because I never thought it was going to come out in America, and then they announced it was coming out for PS4 and Switch, and I picked it up on the Switch, and that is Puyo Puyo Tetris. So, Puyo Puyo Tetris is a mashup of the popular Japanese puzzle game Puyo Puyo and the popular Japanese and also American puzzle game Tetris, and it works way better than you would have ever expected. It is a bizarre game too. It has a story mode. It has story modes with characters from the Tetris world and the Puyo Puyo world, and you might be scratching your head right now and asking, who the hell is the characters of the Tetris world? Well, they're here, and it's really bizarre. But this game has some really interesting and fun modes. It has a mode where it essentially will mash up both Puyo Puyo and Tetris. It has a mode where it's called swap, where it will swap between, like you'll be doing one row. You'll have basically both games going, so one of them will be Puyo Puyo, and then after, like, let's say 30 seconds, it'll flip over to the Tetris mode, and you'll be playing Tetris, and it keeps rotating after every, like, 30 to 45 seconds. That's really fun. And it has a story mode, it has online, although every time I've even attempted online, I've got my ass kicked by some sort of Korean person. It is a fantastic game. I found myself diving into it a lot. I think I've played, like, 20 hours of Puyo Puyo Tetris, and that's a lot if you think about it for a Tetris game, but I've really enjoyed it. That was probably the biggest surprise for the Nintendo Switch for me this year, was how much I enjoyed that game. Obviously, the next game that people are going to talk a lot about is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Now, Mario Kart 8 came out on the Nintendo Wii U. It was the reason I bought a Nintendo Wii U. I didn't own... The Nintendo Wii U was the first console in probably 15 years that... Now, about 15 years that I did not buy on day one because I felt like I was burned on the Nintendo Wii. I didn't play a lot of games on the Wii. I just found it to kind of be a gimmick system. And although there were good experiences on the Wii, like something like Wii Sports, I just did not like the Wii at all. So when the Wii U came out, I was just like, hey, it's a sequel to the Wii, and I just... New Super Mario Bros. Wii U looked really cool, but I didn't feel like it was $350 cool at the time. That's how much that system cost when it came out. Throughout the next 2 years, they started to get some interesting games and stuff, and it wasn't until they released Mario Kart 8 and my best friend, he picked up a Nintendo Wii U, the Mario Kart 8 bundle, and we probably spent an entire month, almost every other night, just playing Mario Kart 8, either against each other or beating through the different CCs in the game and stuff through, I guess, what you could call like a campaign, even though it's not a campaign. And we had a blast playing that game, and I loved that game to the point where I was like, alright, I need to buy a Nintendo Wii U and get Mario Kart. And there were other games and stuff coming out for it. And that was at the point where they were starting to ramp up talking about Breath of the Wild, but that was before they called it Breath of the Wild. So I picked up the Nintendo Wii U, and I had a lot of fun with that game. But Mario Kart 8 was a great game, and one of the few games where when the Switch was announced, I was like, man, I really hope they make a good Mario Kart. Now, you can make the argument that Mario Kart 8 is a game that you've already played. I've already played it, you've already played it probably, and yes, that argument does ring true. But what's awesome about having this game, not only did they up it to 1080p resolution if you're playing it on TV, but just to have it on the go again. This system is a portable system first and foremost, and I really wish Nintendo would lean more into that than they are, because if they did, I feel like this system would be even more of a success than it already is, and it is a huge success. This system is consistently selling out. It is the hottest thing right now, and people are dying to get their hands on them. Anytime I ever see Switches come in a store, they're out like that. It is a huge system right now, and people love this machine to death. Putting a Mario Kart game out on it makes a lot of sense, and obviously they're not ready to reveal Mario Kart 9. I'm sure there's a team somewhere working on it, but what better way to do it than just take Mario Kart 8, put all the DLC content that they made for Mario Kart 8 into it on the cartridge, and throw it out and put it on the Switch, where people that already played it already know they're getting a good Mario Kart game. And you have to remember too, the Nintendo Wii U is one of the worst selling consoles of all time. A lot of people did not play this game. A lot of people didn't play Nintendo Wii U games, and that's why it's cool that they're remastering kind of and throwing these games out on the Switch, because there is an audience for these games that haven't experienced them yet. I think the next game they're doing that was a Wii U game was Pokemon Pokken Tournament DX, which I personally don't care about, but I know there are people out there that totally do. You have to remember there is an audience for these games that didn't experience them yet, and that's why Nintendo's doing this. I still think you're going to get Super Mario Maker on the Nintendo Switch at some point. I still think you're going to get a lot of these other games that came out for the Nintendo Wii U ported over to the Nintendo Switch when it's all said and done. Smash Brothers being another one of them. But Mario Kart 8, for my money, I was extremely happy to get this game again. I haven't played as much of it as I really thought I was going to, but it's one that is on the back burner for me, and I want to dive more into it. And there's been so many things that have come out this year for me to play. I haven't given it the time that I would like to, so I'm looking forward to diving more into it in the future. Then obviously there's been a slew of digital games for the machine, and I'm going to talk about two of them today. And one of them I just recently did a video on, and I highly recommend that you go and check out that video. But it was a game that was initially released only in Japan on the Japanese eShop, but it is out in the American eShop now. So I highly recommend that you play it if you're a fan of old school survival horror games, and that is a game called Vaccine. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about it here because I have a whole video dedicated to it. But it is a really good game. It's really interesting. It is a procedurally generated original Resident Evil. That's what that game is, and it's a lot of fun, and I highly recommend that you play it. The other game that I've been playing most recently, and this is probably my most recent Nintendo Switch game that I've been playing, is a very interesting game called Mighty Gunvolt Burst. So this is an interesting game because it takes the character from the Azure Striker Gunvolt series, and it mashes them with, of all things, yes, Mighty Number 9. You remember Mighty Number 9? It was the very first backlogged episode I did where I played about 10 minutes of Mighty Number 9 and then deleted it off my PlayStation 4 to never play that game again. So you'll have to excuse me when I tell you this was a tough sell for me. I actually had someone recommend this game to me, and when they told me Mighty Number 9 was in, I was like, come on man, are you serious? Like, Mighty Number 9, that game was bad. No, this game's really cool. This is what Mighty Number 9 should have been. It is an 8-bit to 16-bit looking platforming Mega Man game. Only you play as either Mighty Number 9 or the Azure Striker Gunvolt guy. I don't know what his name is, I'm sorry. It's awesome. The one thing that's really cool about this game is you basically level up your guy and stuff, and then you can create different gun bursts with him, like how many bullets you shoot at a time, how big or small they are. You can control all of that, which is something you've never really been able to do in a Mega Man game. I think it's really cool. It's obviously set up like a Mega Man game. There's different stages with different bosses at the end of them. It's a really fascinating game. It is only $10. It definitely has the gameplay there that I think it's worth more than $10, but there aren't as many levels as I would say like a typical Mega Man game, so it's a $10 budget game, but I really like it. It's one of the great downloadable titles for the Nintendo Switch, and I think there are several that I haven't played yet that I'm interested in playing. One of those is Snipper Clips. I've heard tremendous things about this game, have not played it yet, have not picked it up. There's also Fast RMX, or Fast Remix if that's what you want to call it, which is essentially F-Zero. It's a really fun racing game. I played a lot of it when the Nintendo Switch launched. I bought it day one because I needed something else that wasn't Zelda when the machine came out. Unfortunately, now if I want to play a racing game on the Switch, I'm going to play Mario Kart, but it's really good and you shouldn't overlook that game either. And I know Redout, which is another kind of like F-Zero game, is coming out in the next couple weeks here. That game looks cool too, and I might pick that up. We'll see. I'm not really the biggest racing guy, but between Mario Kart 8 a couple years ago and then now, and also recently Forza Horizon 3, I'm starting to have more of an appreciation for the racing genre than I did growing up, because I just could never get into those games other than like Mario Kart. All that said, that's what I've been playing on the Nintendo Switch lately. I've really enjoyed my time with this system. I love this system to death. I think it's awesome, and I think Nintendo has made a lot of goodwill here after having kind of a... I don't want to call the Nintendo Wii U a bad system. It's not a bad system. It was a commercial failure, but critically, it had some of the best games that came out last generation on it. You know, you had a really good 3D Mario game, and you had a really good 2D Mario game, and you also had Super Mario Maker mixed in there. And that's just Mario. You also had probably the best Mario Kart game since Mario Kart 64 on the machine. You had Bayonetta 2, which was a fantastic follow-up to the original Bayonetta and exclusive to that machine. That machine had some really great exclusive games. I'm not even mentioning 2 sealed games I have right now that I haven't even played, which are Tokyo Mirage Sessions, which is a Fire Emblem Cross Shin Megami game, and I have not played that really yet. And then also, and my most personal favorite for the Wii U, and I still have this sealed because I haven't opened it yet, and I have the game and I have the strategy guide, but Xenoblade Chronicles X, I haven't even touched this game yet. And I bought it day one when it came out. So there's a lot of games for the Nintendo Wii U, and I would like to see them come out for the Switch, but I've had more fun with the Nintendo Switch, and a lot of people will tell you like, oh, taking it handheld's just a gimmick. It's not. When I bought this machine, with the idea of, I'm going to stick this thing in the dock that comes with it. I'm never going to take it out handheld because I don't care about that. And looking back, you know, 6 months later, I've played this machine more as a handheld than I have as a docked machine. The only times I really play the machine docked is if I'm playing Zelda or if I'm playing a split-screen game with my girlfriend or something. Otherwise, I play this machine in handheld all the time. It's really fun that way. So, I really recommend the Nintendo Switch. If you can go out and you can find one, I think it's the best machine. And I said this in my last video when I did my initial review of the Nintendo Switch. I think it is the best machine that Nintendo has put out since the GameCube. And that's saying something. And again, I'm kind of a lapsed Nintendo fan. Wasn't a huge Wii fan. I like the Wii U for its games, but I don't think that machine was the greatest. But it was kind of like the half step Nintendo needed to take to get to the Nintendo Switch. And I think the Nintendo Switch is the fully realized idea of having a portable machine that is also a home console. And it's awesome. Looking ahead, I mean, there's still some big games coming out this year. You know, Nintendo had a hell of an E3, as you can see in my E3 wrap-up video, which is the longest video I've ever made. And they really knocked it out of the park this year. You know, Super Mario Odyssey looks incredible, and it's coming a lot sooner than anybody anticipated. You know, it's coming out in October. We also have this Mario Rabbids mashup game that's just an XCOM game that's coming out at the end of August, so that's right around the corner. I look forward to those 2 games. There's also Xenoblade Chronicles X2, which is apparently coming out this year, along with Fire Emblem Warriors. Mario Rabbids looks incredible. Xenoblade Chronicles X2 will be a good RPG, but the fact that I can take it on the go means I might actually play it. And Mario Odyssey, again, looks just so good. So, this system has a bright future ahead of it. They also announced that they're making a Metroid Prime 4. And who knows when that's going to come out, but that's a really cool announcement. They're also going to make a mainline Pokemon game for this machine, and it might be the first time that I'm actually interested in a Pokemon game since maybe Pokemon X, which even then I couldn't really get into X, and I did not get into Sun at all. So maybe I'll like this one because I can also play it on a TV. We'll see, but that's potentially really exciting. So the way I want to wrap up this video is I want to talk about a couple dream ideas of games that I would love to see come to the Nintendo Switch, and I can't stress enough that this is dreams. This isn't reality. This isn't something that's going to happen at some point, but this is just stuff that I would love to see come to the machine based on the portable nature of the machine. And the first one is one that I would love to see come to this, and it makes no sense that It was a game that was originally made for the GameCube, and then it was remastered in 2015, and it was put out on PC, PS4, Xbox One, Xbox 360, and PS3, but not on a Nintendo platform. And I feel like this would be a coming home party for this game if it came to the Nintendo Switch, and that, of course, is my favorite video game of all time, the original Resident Evil, specifically the GameCube remake version of it. It was remastered in 2015. It is my favorite video game of all time. I would love to have this game on the go. I've played countless hours of the original Resident Evil. I play through that game probably 3 to 4 times a year. It is like comfort food to me at this point, how often I play that game. I enjoy it every time. I have done a speed run of the game before. I think my best time in that game is 2 hours and 12 minutes. I don't think I could do that today if I sat down. Like I know that game like the back of my hand, but I still would screw something up after not playing it. Because I usually take like a year off, and then I come back, I play another like 3 or 4 times through, and then I take another year off. But I really love that game. If I think back on my favorite games of the last, 10, 15, 20 years throughout my gaming life, and again, 10 years ago, I would have told you my favorite game of all time is Ocarina of Time. Just the original Resident Evil resonates with me more than any other game. So I would love to see that game come to the Nintendo Switch. I would love to have it in portable mode. I think it would be awesome. They also did remaster Resident Evil 0, which is not one of my favorite Resident Evils, but it would be cool to see both those come over as kind of a collection or something. I would love to see that happen. That would be my first big dream game. Another thing that I would like to see come to the Nintendo Switch, not for me personally, because I'm already playing this game on the PS4, and as of this writing, like I'm literally at the final boss of the game. Persona 5. I love Persona 5. And I would love to see a bigger audience for the game. And obviously, PlayStation 4 is the most successful console out right now, so it has the biggest audience that it probably could have. But I think for a lot of people, they would love to have Persona 5 on the go as well. And it's the kind of game where it would lend itself really well to being portable. So I would love to see Persona 5 come out on the Nintendo Switch. And I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. You have to remember, it is technically a PlayStation 3 game that was put on PS4, so it could totally run on the Nintendo Switch. Final game that I would like to see come out on the Nintendo Switch in this kind of dream section. I kind of only wanted to do 3 games. And the final game that I would like to do is a real big dream. This is one of those pie-in-the-sky ideas. But, we recently got the Castlevania Netflix series, which I think is awesome, and I did a review of it. You should go watch that at some point if you haven't seen it. But I would love to see a new 2D proper Metroidvania Castlevania game for the Nintendo Switch. I mean, obviously we're getting Bloodstained Ritual of the Night from the original creator, whose name I'm not going to butcher right now. I know it in my head, but I don't want to say it out loud because I will butcher the pronunciation of it. But and I have massive respect for that man. He created probably my second favorite game of all time, which is Symphony of the Night. So, and I mean, hell, this channel is called Marble Gallery for a reason. And I would love to see something like that, an actual Castlevania game, a newer one, a Metroidvania one. They made so many great ones. I have over here, I have the Game Boy Advance ones. I don't have cases for them, unfortunately, so I don't want to pull those up, but they're sitting right over here. But I also got all 3 of these games on the DS. Dawn of Sorrow, Portrait of Ruin, Order of Ecclesia. All 3 of these were excellent Castlevania games. And they pumped them out pretty fast, man, if you think about it. You had Dawn of Sorrow in 2005, you had Portrait of Ruin in 2006, and in 2008 you got Order of Ecclesia. Before that, you got 6 total. After Symphony of the Night Castlevania games, you got those pumped out, 6 of them, between Symphony of the Night and when we got to the Lords of Shadow, timeline. So in 10 years, you got 6 of these. And it's been long enough now that it needs to come back. And I would love Konami to condition somebody to make it, but the problem right now is I don't think it's going to happen because we're getting Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, and Konami doesn't give a shit about gamers, so they're not going to do it. But I would love to see something like that on the Nintendo Switch. I think it would be cool to have it portably, but also throw it up on the TV. Hell, even if you gave me Symphony of the Night as a downloadable game on the Nintendo Switch, I'd be happy with that. I don't think that's going to happen, but I would be happy with that at some point as well. Those are the kind of dream games that I would like to see come to the Nintendo Switch, but overall, talking about the Nintendo Switch, it's been about 6 months with the machine. I love this machine to death. I use it pretty much every day. either in portable mode, sometimes in TV mode. I really like it, and I really recommend you guys go out and get one, especially if you were like me and kind of a lapsed Nintendo fan. This system has bought a lot of goodwill with me, and it will with a lot of gamers as well. And between some of these great games that have come out for it, and I didn't even talk about all the games I have for the Nintendo Switch. There's also Cave Story Plus, which I haven't played enough to really give an opinion on, but I like that game just the same as well. So I really recommend it. I think you should check it out. It's a really, really good machine. I love it to death. If you can get out there and get one, go for it. It's awesome. Even if you have to go and buy like a bundle or something, it's one of those times where, like, normally I would tell you getting a bundle is stupid because they're just trying to throw as much in there to get the most money out of you. For a Nintendo Switch, I would say it's worth it simply because the bundles that are out there, you're going to get games, and you can't play old games on this machine. It's new hardware, it's new technology, so I highly recommend that you go out there and get a Nintendo Switch however you have to. It's worth getting. So anyways, guys, until next time.